Tonight, the president looks to retake control of the health care debate and issues a challenge to his critics.
What's your answer? What's your solution?
I'm Russ Mitchell. Also tonight, decision time in Afghanistan. The votes are nearly counted in the presidential election, but with so many allegations of fraud, the real winner may never be known. A struggling city had to lay off firefighters. So why did it use stimulus money to build a skateboard park?
This is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
And good evening. Katie is off tonight. For President Obama, this is a pivotal week following a summer he may want to forget. His poll numbers are down, and increasingly, his administration has been forced to play defense as critics blast his health care proposals. Today, he went back on offense, taking his case for reform to the public in preparation for Wednesday's critical address to Congress. Senior White House correspondent Bill Plants reports tonight from Cincinnati.
Are you fired up? Ready to go?
Moving to reclaim control of the health care debate after a month of setbacks, the president turned to his labor supporters. He accused opponents of trying to scare people. Call it a warm-up for Wednesday.
I've got a question for all those folks. What are you going to do? What's your answer? What's your solution? And you know what? They don't have one.
Previewing his make-or-break speech to a joint session of Congress Wednesday, the president's aide said that he's going to draw some lines in the sand, but he left the specifics out of today's speech.
I want a health insurance system that works as well for the American people as it does for the insurance industry.
Labor and many Democrats in Congress insist that a government-run public insurance plan is a must-have, but the administration has made it clear that it's negotiable, and the president is keeping his options open.
And I continue to believe that a public option within that basket of insurance choices will help improve quality and bring down costs.
For many in this union crowd, the question was, how soon can the president deliver?
It wasn't moving because they were in debate for so long. Now I'm glad he's going to put some action to it.
Today's rally was vintage Obama, campaign style, before a friendly audience. But in next Wednesday's crucial speech, the president will have a much tougher and more skeptical audience to convince. Lawmakers in both parties, many of whom have vowed to defeat health care reform. Bill Plant, CBS News, Cincinnati.
And CBS News will carry the president's address to a joint session of Congress and the Republican response on Wednesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 Pacific. One day before he speaks to Congress, the president will speak with America's school kids, or at least some of them. Tomorrow's address has touched off a nationwide debate over whether or not to watch. And tonight, we're learning what the president plans to say. Here's Don Teague.
After a week-long controversy surrounding President Obama's planned speech to school children,
I just don't think that my child needs to be forced to watch the president.
The White House today released an advanced copy to quell fears about an address the president looks forward to delivering.
Yes, I'm going to have something to say tomorrow to our children, telling them to stay in school and work hard, because that's the right message to send.
In his speech, Obama will tell students to take responsibility for their education, despite challenges. What you look like, where you come from, how much money you have, what you've got going on at home. That's no excuse for neglecting your homework or having a bad attitude.
It is a pleasure to be at this wonderful school.
Republican presidents Ronald Reagan in 1988.
The question each student watching today should ask is,
and George H.W. Bush in 91 also addressed the nation's school children. But Obama's speech originally came with a suggested assignment, asking students to write a letter about how they could help the president, which raised the ire of conservative parents.
I don't want my child raised to be a little community organizer.
Some school districts nationwide have developed policies around the address. Many will allow parents to opt out of having their children view the speech. Other districts, like Rockwall in suburban Dallas, will do just the opposite.
This school district has dealt with the controversy by allowing parents to opt in to viewing the president's speech. In other words, if students don't have parental permission by Tuesday, they won't see the president speak in class.
After reading the speech, parents in New Canaan, Connecticut remain divided.
Seems like it's a call to action and to take some commitment.
It's always me with him. That was another impression I got of the speech.
education, children, and politics. Still a volatile mix. Don Teague, CBS News, Dallas.
John Dickerson is the chief political correspondent for Slate magazine and a CBS News analyst. John, good evening.
Good evening.
Looking at the president's speech today, to borrow a phrase, he was fired up. We haven't seen him quite that preacher-like in quite some time. What did his tone say to you?
Well, this is what his supporters have been looking for. They've wanted this for a while, not just the emotion behind health care reform, but also the hint of punishment, doling out punishment to those who oppose health care reform and putting pressure on the insurance companies, turning them into the villains in this story. And they're looking for him to try and do some of that on Wednesday night when he speaks to Congress.
Yes, the president speaking at a Labor Day barbecue today, but when he does speak to Congress on Wednesday night, what does he have to say to change the hearts and minds of some folks there?
That's right. It was a hot medium today. It'll be a much cooler one on Wednesday night. For the public, he's got to show people what's in this reform for them. A lot of people are just confused. So he has a chance to kind of set the record straight, also show what's in it for them. And then the internal audience, the members of Congress, he's got to suggest a little bit that they are on the wrong side of history if they oppose him and give a little hint of that sense of punishment that he talked about today in his Labor Day speech.
And as we just heard, the president is going to address school kids tomorrow. A lot of controversy there. Has this in any way been a distraction for the White House?
It's been a mild distraction, but not much of one. You know, he got a lot of good cover from Republicans today. Lamar Alexander didn't mind the president's speech, and Newt Gingrich, who is a professional bomb thrower, came out and said what the president was saying was just fine. And even now some of his critics have said that the remarks released by the White House are just fine. So it's just a tiny little distraction.
John Dickerson in Washington, thank you so much. One more political note, the race for Ted Kennedy's Senate seat is now wide open after his nephew Joe Kennedy said today he will not run in the special election to replace the late senator. The former Massachusetts congressman reportedly was the only family member thinking about running. His withdrawal is likely to bring more candidates into the race.
No, ladies.
Turning overseas now, a London jury today convicted 3 men and acquitted 4 others in a bombing plot that could have led to the worst terror attack since 9/11. Its breakup 3 years ago led to a major change in airport security rules. It's why you can no longer bring a bottle of water through the metal detector. More now from Sheila McVicker in London.
3 British-born Muslim men on a path of terror. In August 2006, they planned to bring down passenger jets using innocent-looking liquids in doctored soft drink bottles. Their goal? To kill at least 2,000 people. An explosives expert hired by the BBC duplicated the terrorist recipe. Peter Clark is the former head of counter-terrorism for London's Metropolitan Police.
The systems in place were not geared to detect this kind of device being smuggled on. And that's precisely why Al-Qaeda chose to do it in this way.
But for months, the intelligence services were watching as the bomb maker Assad Sarwar bought hydrogen peroxide and other supplies. This London apartment became a bomb factory, wired by MI5 for sound and picture.
And now the time has come for you to be destroyed.
As the group recorded suicide videos boasting of their plans, the police moved in. They found a list of 7 flights, all U.S. or Canada bound, that the bombers wanted to destroy above the Atlantic or over U.S. cities. The foiled plot produced a wave of chaos amid new regulations restricting the liquids permitted on a plane, creating a legacy of longer lines and more headaches for passengers, changing air travel, probably forever. Sheila McVicker, CBS News, London.
Tomorrow, we should get the first complete vote count from Afghanistan's presidential election, even as cries of voter fraud are getting louder. Partial results show President Hamid Karzai leading challenger Abdullah Abdullah and nearing the 50% needed to avoid a runoff. But Abdullah and other opposition candidates say those numbers cannot be trusted. Mandy Clark reports tonight from Kabul.
The legitimacy of the vote count and the election itself are increasingly in doubt. Violence was the main concern heading into the election. The Taliban's intimidation tactics did drive voter turnout down in the south and east. But the election worry has now shifted to vote rigging. The Independent Election Commission is responsible for verifying the vote count, but its members were handpicked by the incumbent, President Hamid Karzai. And while the vote was slowly being tallied, there were constant accusations that Karzai supporters stuffed ballot boxes, intimidated voters, and threw out votes of the challengers. If tomorrow's count gives President Hamid Karzai more than 50% of the vote, he could avoid a runoff election. But in reality, the preliminary results are only the halfway mark in this process. Another body, the Complaints Commission, which has international members, is investigating hundreds of allegations of fraud. Only when their work is done will the results be official. Mandy Clark, CBS News, Kabul.
Back home, firefighters continue to gain ground on that huge arson fire north of Los Angeles, but there is still some tough work ahead. The so-called station fire is now 56% contained, but some controlled fires to burn off the brush in the wildfire's path were canceled for today. The station fire has already charred more than 157,000 acres and killed 2 firefighters. Still ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News. Is this the best way to spend stimulus money? $500,000 for a skateboard park. We will follow the money. It has been nearly 7 months since Congress passed the Economic Stimulus Act. At nearly $800 billion, it is one of the largest expenditures in history. But some critics say a lot of it's being wasted on frivolous projects at a time when local governments are starved for cash. Cheryl Atkinson follows the money to a struggling city in New England.
In Pawtucket, Rhode Island,
Look at the size of that thing.
the fishing can be first rate.
That's the second one, brother.
But not everything is bountiful. The city is facing its biggest financial crisis since it was founded in 1671. Just how bad are things in Pawtucket? 52 city workers have been laid off. The budget is $7.5 million in the red, and unemployment is among the worst in the nation. In short, Pawtucket is on the verge of bankruptcy. So when the 72,000 residents heard Pawtucket would be getting $500,000 in stimulus money, they might have assumed it would help with their deficit, layoffs, or unpaid school bills. Instead, they're getting this.
There's been an interest since 2002 to get a skate park for the kids.
City planner Michael Cassidy hopes a brand new skate park will be a safe place for young people to gather.
The existing tennis courts, which you see there, and this basketball court, we're going to blow these all out.
Those plans created an uproar. It's not that anyone's against a skate park. The city just needs other things a whole lot more.
I was certainly hoping that we were going to get a little of it.
Pawtucket Fire Chief Tim McLaughlin runs one of the busiest fire departments around. This engine makes 3,000 runs a year. The chief says it defies logic to build a skate park while he's being forced to eliminate 4 life-saving jobs.
I don't think public safety was taken into consideration at all.
He says the $500,000 would be enough to save those positions for a year, with enough left over to make some overdue repairs to his fire stations. But before you blame Pawtucket's leaders, they felt they didn't have much choice. The way Congress set it up, local governments can't always spend stimulus money on what's needed most, even if it would save jobs. Pawtucket had to find a shovel-ready project that could go out for bid in 90 days. As a city official who's watched probably people you know be laid off, did it kind of seem like a tough choice that you had to make here?
Yes, if there was a way that I could use some of this money to bring back staff, I certainly would have tried to do that. We couldn't use it to hire more firemen or bring back laid-off public works employees.
The skate park has become so controversial, the city's trying to fix the image problem with an accounting shift. It'll use the stimulus money for another project, road beautification, and move that project's money to the skate park. But that won't help the firefighters or the others in Pawtucket with so many critical needs, about to get the best skate park around. Cheryl Atkinson, CBS News, Pawtucket, Rhode Island.
Now to California, where drivers in the Bay Area face a potential traffic nightmare. The San Francisco-Oakland Bay Bridge, the only direct route between the two cities, has been closed all weekend for major repairs. Now officials say the bridge may not reopen tomorrow morning as planned because workers found a crack that needs to be fixed right away. Coming up, what's scarier than bats? What happens to the food chain if they keep dying off? For the past few years, there has been an unprecedented crisis unfolding that has gone largely unnoticed. It involves bats and how they're dying off at an alarming rate. Science and technology correspondent Daniel Seberg reports on why that's bad for all of us.
All right, one more.
The race is on throughout the Northeast, from tagging bats with tiny transmitters
Frequency 17347.
to infrared flight analysis and blood testing of their immune systems.
I'll go over here.
You'll see a little bit of spotting and
Researchers are trying to solve one of the most devastating mysteries in the natural world, the huge and rapid die-off of the species named little brown bats.
It's unprecedented in North American wildlife, at least in recorded history.
Biologists are struggling to understand a fungus called white nose syndrome. It's killed more than 1 million bats over just 3 winters. The fungus grows on the faces of bats while they're hibernating. It seems to irritate the bats, upsetting their natural hibernation rhythms. They become more active and burn up critical body fat.
And they're starving. They have no other source of food.
In some cases, bats fly out into the freezing cold in a fruitless search for food.
There have been losses of up to 95 to 100% in some caves and mines.
It started in just 4 caves in upstate New York in 2006, spread in 2007 to 3 states, and last winter exploded to a total of 9 others. This winter, it's expected to march further south and west, threatening other bat species and the nation's largest colonies. The past 2 winters, we've witnessed the profound impact.
Oh my God.
Tragic for the 1 million bats killed so far, potentially devastating for America's farms and forests. Think of bats as nature's pesticide. Just one of these little brown bats is capable of eating up to 1,000 insects every night.
Those 1 million bats would have eaten each summer about 694 tons of insects.
Really?
That's right. And so
those insects
are out here. They're out here now.
Surviving insects could do heavy damage to forests and woodlands. Other bat favorites, like moths and beetles, attack cotton and corn, potentially forcing farmers to use much more pesticide. The best hope for stopping white nose syndrome is probably a vaccine or a fungicide, but still years away.
It's a very depressing condition that these bats are not likely to recover in my lifetime.
Bats that have survived for 50 million years may now face extinction within a decade. Daniel Seberg, CBS News, Framingham, Massachusetts.
From bats to sharks now. There was a shark scare tonight on the Massachusetts coast. Swimming was banned on several Cape Cod beaches after great whites were spotted offshore. Scientists put satellite tags on 2 of them, the first time they've ever tracked great white sharks in the Atlantic Ocean. And that is the CBS Evening News for this Labor Day. I'm Russ Mitchell. Katie's back tomorrow. I'll see you first thing in the morning on The Early Show. Good night.